When 1% of your life, let us say, is conducted consciously and 99% accidentally, you must be shit scared of life, how else to live? So what are you fearful about? Something that will happen or you think will happen, isn't it? If you do not know anything about this, then you are an accidental being. You being fearful is good, otherwise you may cause enormous harm to yourself.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. Many people say that thoughts create karma, and sometimes our biggest fears keep on recurring in our minds on a daily basis. So how do we stop that flow of thoughts, and how do we stop those fears from materializing, and also how to cut down on unwanted karma?
Whoa. See, this whole karma business has been very misunderstood and been projected as a fatalistic process. Karma means this, karma means action. Literally translates as action. As you sit here, there is physical activity going on, there is mental activity going on, there's emotional activity going on, there's energy activity going on. These four dimensions of karma are happening within you every moment of your life, both in wakefulness and in sleep, it's happening. Now if I ask you a question, since today morning, since you woke up to this moment, how much of these four dimensions of karma are you conducting consciously? How much do you think? Percentage? Well below 1%, believe me. It's way below 1%. When 1% of your life, let us say, is conducted consciously and 99% accidentally, you must be shit scared of life, how else to live? If you're driving a car and 99% it is accidental the way you're driving, will you be scared or not? So fear is a consequence of your inability to manage the nature of your intellect. See, your life's experience is happening this way. These are three dimensions. There is something called as memory, which feeds you all the time. Memory is not just what you remember. You don't remember 10 generations ago how your great-grandmother looked, do you? You don't, but her nose is sitting on your face, yes or no? You have genetic memory, you have evolutionary memory, you have karmic memory, articulate and inarticulate levels of memory. This entire thing is memory, head to toe. Every cell in the body is memory, isn't it? We can take one cell and create the whole of you, and that's how your parents also did. Just one cell and see, you become like this. So, there is enormous amount of memory in this. This memory rules certain things, but there is a present experience. Memory is of the past, but the present is of experience, your ability to experience. If you want to experience anything, you must be conscious, you must be aware, only then you can experience. The future is an imagination. So memory, experience and imagination, it is between these three dimensions in which you exist. Memory you cannot change because it's already there. Present you don't have to change because that is also here right now. It's only the imagination which you can change. So what are you fearful about? Something that will happen or you think will happen, isn't it? Fear is always about something which does not exist right now, it's always about what will happen. So you are suffering that which does not exist. If you're suffering that which does not exist, there are psychiatric terms for that. Hello? Your only comfort is everybody is in the same state. That's how it is in asylum usually. Everybody is in the same condition. But right now people are in this condition, what happened 10 years ago they can still suffer, what may happen day after tomorrow they already suffer. They're suffering things which does not exist, simply because in your education system, you are studying about everything except how to manage this. If you do not know how to manage this, it doesn't matter how much nonsensical information you have gathered, it'll be not of much use to your life. You must know how to keep this, how to conduct this body, how to conduct this mind, how to conduct this emotional structure and the energy structure. If you do not know anything about this, then you are an accidental being. You being fearful is good, otherwise you may cause enormous harm to yourself.
Sadhguruji, you just mentioned love, and today it is about life and love, and I would like to know, for us it is maybe love your family members, whoever it could be. Why I ask you this is because there's so many versions of this, and I really want to get to it. Some teachers, some gurus, some guides will say, you know, you can love, but you must be detached. You must love, but it cannot be conditional. It should be unconditional. And so there's versions of it. I just want to know.
See,
So,
the simple way of make you keep coming back to me is to give you something that you cannot do. To give you a teaching which you can never do. You must love, but you must be detached. Now you have to keep coming back to me for consultation, endlessly.
Sorry.
I'm saying throw yourself into your love affair and die into it, something will happen. Something worthwhile will happen if you're willing to die into the process. Not just anything, whether it's your work or your life or your love or whatever, if you do not know how to throw your entire self into it, you will never know the taste of what it is. Love but be detached. Why do you want to love then? Only because you want to include somebody as a part of your life, part of yourself, that's why you love. No, I love but I am detached. This means you have to come back to consultation every day, it's like a psychiatrist's job. Every day you have to come and sit on the couch. You need treatment and there is a fee.
So, okay, all right. So you can love and be attached.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm coming back for consultation, please. So what did you say?
I only said, see, what is this need for love in a human being? You must understand, a human being constantly, a human being is longing to be something more than what they are right now. If this finds a simple, basic physical expression, we call this sexuality. Sexuality means just this, physically you're trying to make something which is not you a part of yourself. For a few moments you may succeed. If you try this mentally, it gets labeled as greed, conquest, or maybe simply shopping. Some people go for conquest with swords and guns, some people go with checkbooks and cash, credit cards. The thing is, you want to include something which is not a part of you as yourself, that is the whole effort. Whether you want money or wealth or you want to occupy a nation, what is it? Something that is not you, you want to make it yours. Yours is an effort to make it a part of yourself. If it happens emotionally, on the emotional level if you try this, we call this a love affair. You're trying to make somebody who is not a part of you, a part of yourself emotionally. This is a love affair. If you do it consciously, we call this yoga. Yoga means union. So all these efforts are fine, everything has its own beauty but has its own limitations. When you understand the limitations of all the other methods, nothing right or wrong about it, it is just that it will work briefly, it will not work for always. When you realize that, you consciously try to include. When you consciously become an inclusive process, if you sit here, if you experience everything as yourself, then we say you're a yogi, okay? So this is a love affair successful.
You said love, inclusiveness. I can't understand how I can love everybody in this room.
You cannot. There's some people you cannot love.
I can barely see up there and up there. So how is that? How do you include everybody in your love?
See, because you are looking at love as something that comes to you or you yield to the process of love only because you appreciate a particular quality, a shape of somebody's nose or the shape of their mind or their thought or their emotion or the way they speak or the way they do things or the way they relate to you, something, okay? There are many things. It is based on something that is acceptable to you. If they do something that is not acceptable to you, love crumbles.
Yes.
Now what I'm saying is, I want you to look at this. Whether love happens to you or hate happens to you, anger happens to you, misery happens to you, joy happens to you, it only happens within you, isn't it?
Yes.
It never… People say love is in the air. No. Because you are feeling very pleasant in your emotions, suddenly air feels vibrant. It always been, you missed it all your life, now you're beginning to feel it.
Okay.
All right? So, whatever human experience, love or hate, whatever, happens only within you. What I'm saying is, at least what happens within you must happen by your choice. Consciously you must be able to make it happen. If you are able to… if your experience of what is happening within you is happening by choice, what is the problem? It only happens within you. Love is not a relationship. A relationship is a different thing. Love is a certain sweetness of your emotion. Whether you look at a tree, or a dog, or a man, or a woman, or a child, or just at the sky, why can't you look at it lovingly? Because it's not about loving the sky, it's about the sweetness of your emotion. If your emotions are sweet, whatever you look at it in a certain way. Right now you have nasty emotions, whatever you look at it in a different way. So you have always associated love with somebody. No, this is not about somebody. Love is not something that you do, it is something that you can become. If you're willing, you can become love, you can make your emotion into a very sweet space. If you make your body very pleasant, it becomes pleasure. If you sit here, it can be great pleasure just sitting here and breathing. This is what we're teaching people. You sit… I will show you millions of people, if they close their eyes, tears of ecstasy will just drip. Nothing, simply close your eyes. Ecstatic they are, bursting every cell in their body. Because body has become so pleasant. If your mind becomes pleasant, we say this is joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we say this is love. If your very life energies become pleasant, we say this is blissfulness, this is ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call that success. Now you're calling your success with somebody as love, that's a mistake. You have a success story with somebody, that is, you have created pleasantness in the atmosphere between you and let's say 5, 10 people around you. You're calling that love. No, that is actually success, because that needs lots of management.
Yes, it does.
Yes or no?
Yes, it does.
Yes, but for you to be loving, there is no management. If you just make your emotions sweet, your emotions are sweet and it's beautiful, be like this. It's not about anybody. If somebody comes, we can share it. If nobody comes, you can sit here with your eyes closed and still be loving. What's the problem? It is not about somebody, it's not an action. It is not something that you do, it is something that you can become.
It's a lovely, idyllic.
It is not idyllic, it is the way it is.
I mean, you'd really have to practice this.
Why?
Because I'm
See,
thinking…
this is what exactly I'm saying. If it is an action comes to perfection with practice. Only if it's an action. I'm saying love is not an act. Is health an act? Are you acting healthy right now?
No.
I know you're an actor, but are you acting healthy?
No.
So health is, because
Yes.
we have done certain things and health is, isn't it?
Oh, we've not done certain things,
We have
we've been
definite…
given
No.
health.
Oh, we've been given, but if you eat bad, if you live bad, you won't be healthy. We've done certain things to manage our health. Similarly, if you do certain things, you can manage the pleasantness of your mind. If you do certain other things, you can manage the pleasantness of your emotion. If you do certain other things, you can manage the pleasantness of your very life energies. This is things that you can do. Now what you can do internally, you're trying to manage externally. What can be done here within you, you're trying to manage by creating an atmosphere around you, which is a very difficult thing to do, because outside will never happen 100% the way you want it. To some extent we can manage, we can't do all of it by ourselves because there are many forces involved. when it's not just in South America, there are such things in India also, which are of maybe not of the same species of plants but are of different nature, that a full cleanup happens. This was very essential for people who lived in forests, because if you live in nature, suppose you go out and live in a jungle, the number of parasites which live in your body will multiply, the variety and the number will multiply manifold. Recently there is a study which has been published which says there is a particular kind of parasite which is mainly present in the cat's excrement. If you played around with the cats and cat's excrement was around you, it is very much possible that this parasite is within you. This is not the only one. If you really put this under the scanner, there are many parasites, many of them. So once you live in nature, exposed to natural elements, the number of parasites which will reside in the body will greatly be enhanced. Some parasites could be dangerous to life, some parasites could cause damage to the system, but most others don't. They subsist on you and they also contribute something, so the body doesn't fight them too much and it goes on, the affair goes on without you knowing about it. That's okay. But over a period of time, as their numbers increase, they have to be cleaned up. So these systems were mainly designed for a complete thorough cleanup. In India, we have various methods where not always with hallucinogenic substances, but there are also concoctions with hallucinogenic things where it's complete purging, because in India we don't believe in bringing it back, we want to pump it down. So there are systems with which if you drink water after 2 hours, just pure water will come out. To that extent, your entire alimentary canal is just cleaned up thoroughly. This is something that was regularly done to all of us when we were growing up. Once a month, everybody has to go through total purging. Without that, they never believed there is going to be health, because this was one way of handling any kind of parasite that may grow. Not all parasites are in the form of worms or tapeworms or roundworms or whatever. There are parasites that you cannot see, they're micro in nature, you cannot see them but they exist. But to clean them up, and the maximum number of parasites normally reside in your digestive tract. And the blood parasites and the cellular parasites are there, but there is a way to impact them. These are all relatives. The parasites need an ecosystem of their own. If you completely remove the parasite presence in your digestive tract, the other parasites generally cannot subsist, except a few. Others cannot subsist because they need an ecosystem of their own kind. So to destroy that ecosystem periodically was a part of the tribal life, otherwise people would slowly get sick or dull and die early. All these things used to happen. Along with that, there is also a cleansing of emotional and psychological backlog that is building up within the human being. But once you use outside chemicals or substances to do these things, in some way you will get addicted to it, or in some way you will become limited to that process. But if anybody believes they will attain to consciousness by purging their digestive tract, they need a different kind of treatment, okay? Yes, it definitely cleanses the system, it makes certain things possible. People used hallucinogenic ways of accessing certain dimensions which are largely occult in nature. This is the reason why both in North America and South America, that occult evolved in a big way, because they used other kinds of aids to make themselves available to certain possibilities. I want you to understand, just finding a little space in the chaos of your intellect, either with whatever the unpronounceable South American stuff, or with an LSD or a drug or whatever else, is only a temporary excess. And most of the time, this may leave you completely debilitated, because one excess of a heightened experience and after that back on the ground, you will be broken. This is just like you were earning let's say $10 million a year, and you are used to spending $10 million a year, suddenly next year you got only $1 million. You will be broken because you have $1 million. Whole lot of people, it's their dream to have that $1 million. So, if you rise without earning it, by breaking the mind with chemicals, somehow you rose to some experience and then you came down, then you will see you will be far more miserable than ever before. I told them in India, people were complaining, Sadhguru, you're doing Bhava Spandanas only in America, you're not doing in India, you must do at least one in India. Then I said, for all of you who already done the BSP, minimum 3 times, I will give you one super BSP. Only thing is, for every participant, we need 3 volunteers. Because you need to carry a bucket for each one of them, because they will puke, I hope they won't do the other thing and they will flip, you have to carry them to their lunch, they won't know how to eat, you have to feed them. You'll have… This is what is happening in your South American treatment, okay? You won't know how to do anything, you're like all over, somebody has to put water in your mouth, somebody has to take you to the toilet, otherwise you'll do it everywhere. We can do a super BSP like that without any herb, without any chemical. We can tweak that dimension of you, which is a huge purging on all levels. But don't mistake this for consciousness. Yes, it gives you a certain relief, but it doesn't take you to any place. First of all, it's not a shortcut, it's a very long drawn-out process of endless puking and getting your intestines out, literally. I am talking about a shortcut. If you simply sit with your eyes closed, don't mess with your mind, you will become millionfold of ayahuasca, okay? If you just learn how not to mess with your mind. So, somebody wants to put a chemical and beat your mind down totally and give you some experience. See, please understand, you're walking on the street, if you take a stick and hit you on the head, that also will give you experiences, do you know? No, I'm not saying just of pain. People go through various levels of hallucinations when they're unconscious. Some people have pleasant experiences, some people have very unpleasant experiences. The same happens with this South American treatment also. Some people have such a bad experience that they never again want to go there, some people like it. So even if you bang your head on the wall, it can happen, because all it needs is that you're out of your memory sphere, that's all. You're still conscious, but you're out of the memory sphere, you will explode. So how to separate you from your memory? Shall we do it with chemicals or shall we do it with awareness is the only choice we have. Either we can do it with devotion or intensity of emotion or energy or awareness, we can do this. Now, chemicals if we use also, people have used LSD and felt fantastic, okay, they vouch by that. You are a bit too late. I come from a time when everybody around me was on it, all right? But I was on something else, which all of them wanted. Because they knew they go up and they go down, I'm always like this. So, the question is just this, what needs to happen from inside if you pull it out from outside? Do you believe there will be no consequences? Hello? See, we can do one thing, you eat food, it'll take time to digest this. So we pull out your stomach bag and do chuk 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 chuk. Digestion will happen quickly and put it back. It's a good trick. But you think it'll not have any consequence? This is all you're trying to do. So you can… see, people are always trying to weave a philosophy around those things about which they're compulsive. You want to promote your compulsiveness as consciousness. That's the whole problem. Everybody has a philosophy. You ask a drunkard and see why he is drinking, he has a very profound philosophy as to why he is a drunkard. Yes or no? Even ask a thief why he's a thief, he has his own philosophy as to why he's a thief. Everybody, when they want to do their nonsense, they have a philosophy. There is a difference between philosophy, there is a difference between physical dimensions of life. Chemistry is just a physical dimension in a certain way, and there is a big difference between all those things and becoming awakened. It's a completely different thing. Don't worry about your work, you give. What do you want? You want a roof? I'll give you. You want food every day? I'll give you. All you have to do is just sit in one place and be blissful. I will feed you for the rest of your life. Can you do? No, you want to mess up something every day. People say they're only working for a living. I said, don't worry, I'll give you shelter, I'll give you food every day, no problem. All you have to do is, I want to see tears of blissfulness. That's all the requirement. You don't have to do any work, you don't have to serve me, you don't have to produce anything, nothing. Just sit here blissfully, we'll feed you, we'll worship you. No. So the problem is not in your work, the problem is not in your life, the problem is not in the world that you live, the problem is just that you have not done the necessary things for this one to flow through this effortlessly, beautifully. The necessary work has not been done, and we're just hoping it'll happen by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. Lot of people in the world think United States of America is heaven. People who live here don't think so at all. Isn't it so? Yes, sir? Lot of people in the world are dying to get an entry into the country. You open up the southern borders, 10 million people will enter tomorrow morning because they think this is heaven. But you are not experiencing it that way, isn't it? You are not experiencing this as heaven because hell and heaven is not a geographical place. Hell and heaven is what you make out of yourself, isn't it? Too much talk about heaven has been going on because there are too many people who made a hell out of themselves. If you had made a heaven out of yourself, would you talk about going to heaven? If you sit here and you're feeling ecstatic right now, would you aspire to go to heaven, I'm asking? Once it happened, early 20th century, an Orthodox Greek church, a bishop from that church, Orthodox Greeks have their own separate church, they have their own pope who lives in Turkey, you know this? So a bishop from this order had heard so much about Indian mysticism and he wanted to go to India, but he never got around to make it because he had to serve the cloth that he wore. And after 60 years of age, when he is semi-retired, he got the opportunity and went to India. So he came to South India, near where we are, and he wanted to meet a mystic, a yogi. So somebody said, go up this mountain, near a cave, there is a yogi sitting, you can go. So our man went, plodded up the mountain halfway, up and went. In front of a cave, an old man with a gentle smile upon his face was just sitting with his eyes closed. So the bishop went and prostrated. He cannot do it, he is not made for that. But they had told him, if you go to India, you have to crawl. He prostrated like this and with all his four limbs he got up. The yogi looked at him with amusement. Obviously, he has never prostrated anywhere before and he smiled. Then the bishop said, I am like this, I am a bishop. I have served in the church for so long, but I have a few questions, can you answer? The yogi smiled and said, yes, please, whatever the question. Then the bishop asked, what is life? At the age of 60. What is life? So the yogi closed his eyes, became very blissful and said, life is like the fragrance of a jasmine on the spring breeze. And tears of blissfulness flowed out of his eyes as he was saying this. Then the bishop said, no, no, no. Our Pope has told us, life is like a thorn and we must renounce it. And even symbolically, Jesus himself wore a crown of thorns. So, how come you say this? Our Pope says otherwise. The yogi looked at him, smiled and said, well, that's his life. So, what you make out of it is not because of where you are, what you are, it is just what you make out of it, isn't it? So, have you created the necessary mechanism? Have you created the necessary system? Have you created the necessary ingredients within you to make this like the fragrance of jasmine on a spring breeze and not a thorn? If it's a thorn, we must pluck the damn thing out, isn't it? Isn't it so?
Yes.
Now that you're taking Devi home, how powerful, how mighty and how wonderful she becomes in your house simply depends on how much you feed of your heart to her. If you hold her as the highest entity in your home, not yourself, not your family, but if you hold Devi as the highest entity in your home, one who receives the grace of Devi need not ever fear failure, disease, death. All this will become a play.
Respectable Sadhguruji, your global contribution for rivers, Rally of Rivers, is such a successful movement which is going to inspire not only India but in the whole world. Particularly, I am responsible for water resources, river connectivity, Ganga rejuvenation, and particularly the water is a subject related with my ministry. As with your blessings, we are trying to develop Clean Ganga mission, and which is really a big challenge for the country. You are absolutely correct. Without plantation, we cannot save our rivers. And that is the main theme behind the Rally for Rivers. You educate the masses, you inspire the people, and you give them a very specific target as far as the ecology and environment is concerned. As one of your admire. It is a great pleasure and pride for me today to have this Jivan Gaurav Puraskar for you from Maharashtra Rajya Marathi Patrakar Sangha. And it's a great pleasure and pride for me that I got opportunity to give it to you. I'm not a so big man, but it is the blessings from your side to me. This is only my feeling about it.
The most embarrassing moments of my life or moments of accolades and awards, but I must thank you for organizing this. A river is a live thing. This great amount of work being done with the Ganga, cleaning of the Ganga. A lot of people think Ganga is dirty. No, we are dirty people, essentially. If human beings go to sleep just for 1 year, in one flood season, Ganga will clean herself. So what Ganga needs is some responsible action from us. Soil is the most important thing. If we have rich soil, there'll always be enough water. We as a generation of people, are we committed to take it in the direction of solution rather than driving it towards a problem? What is our gift to future generations? At least do we have the responsibility to give this nation to the next generation as our parents gave it to us? Maharashtra has been a very proactive state for Rally for Rivers. It is the most proactive state. We must congratulate you all for this. As Gadkariji was mentioning Sudhir Mugantiwar's name, this man is fire. Without his enthusiasm, these things wouldn't have happened. And of course, the Chief Minister is backing him 100%. And fortunately in Maharashtra, the Forest Minister and the Finance Minister are same. This has done wonders. We will be unfolding a project in Yavatmal, the Vagari River. We have chosen the most difficult place in the country. This is considered the epicenter of former suicide. There are a variety of reasons for this, but I'm 100% sure if the necessary cooperation is there, in 5 to 8 years' time, we can make a complete turnaround of this region. Every one of you who are proud Marathi people, we have to demonstrate this to the world. What looked like a hopeless piece of land, we can convert it into a very rich piece of land where people will live well. We have created a detailed project report. Our volunteers have been working for last 8 months on the ground, literally meeting every farmer in the region. Farmers are very eager and the government is very enthusiastic. If all of you are with us, I'm sure we will make this happen. Thank you very much. The forces working upon life upon this planet varies from one latitude to another. Because of a certain shape and a form it takes, it could become differently competent. It is because of this that, being in contact with the earth is a very important part of one's health and well-being. I know the medical community would make fun of this, but I 100% stand by this.
Does the specific place where someone grows up influence them? Is that why they tell us to eat the local food?
The question is, being in a certain part of the planet, does the celestial geometry work upon you in a particular way? The nature of the larger human system or the deeper human system, how it functions, definitely is impacted by the location. It makes them different. As you know, it is true with every other life. The plant life and the animal life, which is very comfortable in southern India, would wither away in anywhere around New York State or in that part of the world. Because the life here has evolved, it's not just the weather. It's not just the weather and the volume of sunlight or cold that happens. Yes, those are a big impact too. But why life has evolved the way it has evolved has something to do with the location. It is a fact, anthropologically recognized fact, that a certain race of people, when they migrated from one geographic location to an entirely different geographic location, many racial features in their physiology will slowly change, and over a period of time, there is a distinct change to a point where you could not recognize how they were at a certain time. For example, India has been a cauldron of racial mix for a long time. But you will see how being at this location on the planet, of course the temperatures, the weather, all these things have an influence, but apart from that, just the nature of the food that they eat, nature of how what planetary position they are, how it has altered their physical features and how they've completely changed is quite unbelievable. It is Central Asian people who came down as the Aryans about 8,000 years ago. Just see how people in Georgia, I'm not talking about United States Georgia, I'm talking about the Georgia, okay? In Central Asia, how those people look and how people who have come from there, who lived in India for over 6 to 8,000 years, how they look, you will be amazed how they have changed. Everything about them. So there is weather, there is food, there is latitude, which makes the difference. Because the speed at which the planet is spinning has different effect of centrifugal and centripetal forces working upon every object upon the planet. The forces working upon life upon this planet varies from one latitude to another. So based on this, the impact upon how the body shapes itself, and because of that, because of a certain shape and a form it takes, it could become differently competent. It's unfortunate that every difference, certain human beings turn it into a discriminatory process. Otherwise, if you study the difference that the planet has produced, different types of life forms that it has produced, even different types of human beings that the planet has produced, it's amazing and incredible, and there is a whole lot of things to know about this. And India latitude and longitude largely makes them inward focused than outward. This does not mean others cannot do this, everybody can do this. There is also a cultural evolution that happens over a period of time. There are many factors. But definitely, being in different parts of the world, the body becomes competent. It's not like if you move from one place to another, now in next 2 years' time, everything about you will change, need not, unless you're willing to change. you could resist that, but changes will happen in spite of your resistance even in your own lifetime, just because geographically you're located in a completely different space. It's very difficult to gauge this because the amount of cultural influence and other social influences are so big and so intertwined that you cannot really separate. But suppose we had looked at a world before the migration started, before we started traveling as we are traveling today, you can clearly see the distinction as to how planet generated a certain type of life in a certain part of the world. This is true with every other life and definitely with the human being too. You also, I think, interjected with a question about the food. I must tell you this, in yoga, the prescription for eating the food is how much distance a man can walk in a day. In a single day, how much distance you can walk. That should be the radius of the area from which you must eat. You should not eat food which is grown far away from you because the body that you carry is essentially a piece of this planet. If it is a piece of this planet, if you're eating food from that specific area and you're living on that area, there is a constant interaction between your body. Don't think this happens only after you find your cemetery spot. Even today, as you are sitting here, if you sit in this place, your body and the earth or this part of the earth on which you're sitting is in a constant state of a very profound interaction. It is because of this that, being in contact with the earth is a very important part of one's health and well-being. In the yoga center, we are always giving people to work in the garden if they are not healthy, so that they're in touch with the earth. This being in touch with the earth today in modern spas has reduced itself to a mud bath. Well, you must be in touch somehow. It doesn't matter how you do it, either with a mud bath or by working in the land, whichever way, or sleeping on the floor, or whatever you do, essentially you're trying to be in contact. And food is a transaction. What was in the earth, you're taking it into the body. It will function best if it comes from that piece or that area of earth on which you're living. So generally the prescription is like this, how much you can walk in a day, that should be the radius of land from which you eat. That is, if you are growing food on your own farm and eating, you will see within a month's time. Suppose you live on a patch of land, grow your own food and eat, within a month's time you will see a very distinct change in the healthfulness of your body. I would say, if this one thing, this one simple thing is done, I think we can bring down the incidence of cancer on this planet by 50 to 60%. I would stand by this. I know the medical community would make fun of this, but I 100% stand by this. At least 50% of the incidence of cancer could be brought down if we are in touch with the earth that we are living upon, and the food comes from the area in which you live, not from somewhere else. Right now, if I go for breakfast in this hotel, probably the fruit comes from New Zealand. They told me the fish comes from Vietnam, and I don't know what else come from where. So, just because we are able to transport things around and there are supermarkets which can sell the world to you, we are doing this more for pleasure, not for well-being.
In a world full of cuts, short videos, and distractions, you chose to stay and listen until the end. That already says a lot about your willingness to look deeper. Drop your city in the comments, and if you'd like, subscribe and share this video with someone who's also not afraid to think. Thank you, a big hug to you, and see you in the next video.